My name is Caroline Richards, and I live in Starport-on-Severn in Worcestershire. I'm just a mom of two, an ordinary person. But what this short video is about is because I want laws introduced by our government for them to regulate funeral directors in this country and England, Wales and Northern Ireland. And I hope by me sharing my sad and heartbreaking experience with a local funeral director from Kidderminster, that you will support me to get regulations for the funeral industry put in place by our government and by signing the petition. So what I will briefly, I'll tell you what happened anyway. So my son Kristian was 27 and he died tragically in a road traffic accident in September 2019. He died from head injuries. So obviously he had to have an autopsy to determine death, which we all accept. But Kristian had no other injuries apart from a scratch on his arm. So following Kristian's death and subsequent autopsy, I instructed the local funeral director in Kidderminster to get Kristian's body to take to his funeral home in preparation for the funeral. I assumed that this was just get Kristian in his clothes and allow me to view him before the funeral. I signed paperwork, a legal document, to state that there was to be no further examination of Kristian's body. But the funeral director decided to ignore my wishes, and he told me what he did to Kristian's body. After he'd done it, and without my consent, he told me that he'd reopened Kristian's chest. There was no injuries to Kristian's chest other than what the autopsy, the coroner, morticians have to do because they do their job. So there was no injuries there. Kristian's injuries was his head, not his face. Anyway, so he decided to do what he did and tell me about it, which was to reopen my son's chest to, as he put it, he has to undo the coroner's work and he has to take a look inside to make sure that they've put the organs back in correctly, which is impossible anyway. But he did this. He did a couple of other things, unnecessary, undignified, and downright sickening to me. But he told me that this is what he does to anybody who is in his care, who's had an autopsy. I mean, I trusted him with my son's body, but he broke that trust and his power over my son's dead body. And my precious son should have been left alone. But this particular funeral director decided that he wanted to reopen him, have a look, stitch him back up, as well as other things. But I question whose benefit was it for? It wasn't for Kristian's benefit. It was not for my benefit. So it just, I can't really explain how it makes you feel. It's absolutely sickening. So I contacted the coroner. I contacted the FDA, which is Funeral Directors Association, and asked them, is this normal? And they stated, no. There's two procedures which is acceptable in a funeral director's home parlour. One is to remove a pacemaker. Secondly, to embalm the body. Right. Kristian was a fit 27-year-old, young and healthy. He had no pacemaker. He also was not embalmed. So I contacted the police, solicitors, MPs, anybody that I could think of was, well, this has got to be wrong then. Surely this is not acceptable, what he has done. But they all stated, but because there's no laws in this country, that he's not breaking any laws, because there is none. So it's inevitable, every one of us is going to die. So it affects each and every one of us. Every one of you that's watching this now and listening. I'm asking you to sign the petition so we, the ordinary people, can be heard and ask, can we get the funeral directors industry regulated, please? Because it's going to be your son next time, or your daughter, or your grandchildren, or your parents. This is going on behind closed doors. And the only reason I know about it is because he was so arrogant that he told me. And so he was also so arrogant that when I questioned him a month later by email, I asked him, why did you do what you did to my son? And he even confirmed everything in his emails. So I have proof. So I'm thanking everybody that's already signed the petition. It really does mean a lot to me. And I'm just hoping that you can help me to get this petition to Parliament. We need 100,000 signatures by June the 10th of 2021. So I'm under a lot of pressure. So please, I'm begging you, it's not too late for your family members and your children. Please, we've got to stop this happening. But thank you so much for listening, and God bless you all.